Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10 and support the channel at the same time. Hey there, it's John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to this special edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. This is our Picks of the Month video for February, and this month's theme is going to be Iconic Masters. So we're going a little more high-end this time around. Last month we looked at Pauper for our Picks of the Month January. This time we're going to be looking at a master set, but not just any master set. This is a highly overlooked master set. The cards in this set are actually at very affordable prices right now, and there's some really good key cards here that a lot of people have just plain moved on and forgotten about. When this set came out, there were tons of products coming out at the same time, and this was really overshadowed by not only kind of the poor marketing where we got to see the set revealed way too early, and by the time it came out, people just weren't thinking about it anymore. And also, shortly after this came out, Unstable came out, which was a really unique and different set that grabbed a lot of people's attention. So, one of the big problems with this set was there was an abundance of boxes out there that people just weren't opening. There's still an abundance of boxes out there, but at this point, I think people are just storing them, holding onto them as sealed product, and I don't think you're going to see a lot of them cracked for singles at this point because time's marched on. We're moving on to Masters 25. That's right around the corner. And this set just kind of got lost. So we're going to talk about some of the good deals you might be able to find if you're hunting for singles that are in this set today. Now, just a quick reminder about this video. It does come out a couple days early for gold patrons. So by the time you see this on YouTube, it will be a couple days since I pulled the pricing. Some things may have shifted slightly. I'm not anticipating any major changes though. So with that being said, let's get into it. We're going to start off with Archangel of Thune. All right, $12.27. So this is a card that maybe isn't a huge Modern card. I mean, every once in a while it shows up in Modern as like a one-of, or sometimes the Soul Sisters deck will swing around and put up a decent result. But for the most part, this is a casual card that desperately needed a reprint for a long time. There's a lot of things you can do with this card. Obviously, Commander or other casual life gain decks. I like this for cubes because throwing in a life gain theme in your cube, this could be one of the key cards of that. It's ultimately not that expensive at this point. Now, before this was reprinted, it would have been very expensive to do that. But now for like $10, $12, if you look around, you'll be able to find these cards cheaper than the prices you're probably seeing today. If you can find this for like $10, I think it's a great pickup. Evison, Angel of Hope, $13.77. This card is another one of the white cards that kind of sits around the $10, $12 range that used to be a lot higher prior to the reprint. And this one, again, isn't a constructed card necessarily, but a really cool commander card. Whether you're just trying to do mono white commander, it's just a powerful card, or you want an angel theme or something along those lines. I think this is a really good price point for the card. And the thing you have to remember about all of these cards we're talking about today, they've just been reprinted, like really a matter of weeks ago at this point. So you have to think that we don't know when these are going to be reprinted again. I mean, sure, WotC could surprise us and throw one of these in Masters 25, no doubt. But for the most part, once they kind of cover a major reprint, you don't see it again for a while. It might be a year, 2 years down the road before this card shows up again. And all these cards could climb quite a bit between now and then. Good old Elish Norn at $13.50. Another card that actually is awesome for casual play, but this one does see some play sometimes in Legacy or Vintage Reanimation decks, so it does show up in a little bit of Constructed as well. But this card is just backbreaking. If you've ever played against it or played with it, you know that it can really disrupt the board states, and its casting cost is actually not even that bad, but whether you're cheating it into play with Reanimation or hard casting it, this thing is a powerhouse. All right, let's move into blue with Ancestral Vision. $17.99 actually feels like a steal for this card. Now, some people do prefer the original art. I probably am one of them, but the John Avon art, there's nothing wrong with this. I think it looks cool too. So what's great about this card right now, it had a weird kind of history recently. It got unbanned in Modern not too long ago. Spiked really hard. It showed up in a lot of control builds. And then it started to decline a little bit. About the time this set came out and we were getting more copies thrown into the wild, the playability of the card percentage-wise started to go down in the world of Modern. Control is just playing less of it. The thing with this card is it's awesome if you get it like turn 1 because it could even win you a game. But Modern games don't necessarily go all that deep into turns. So if you get this thing late with a Suspend 4, it might not feel so good a lot of the time. So a lot of these decks were trying to figure out what the right number to play was and such. Now, with that being said, and over the last few months, things have changed a lot in the world of Modern. Unbannings combined with the fact that this card was actually gaining momentum already. And you could see this in like the Is It Pyromancer deck, for example. This was showing up in the As Foretold Living End decks. So some of the new hot decks were running this card, and a lot of people are just kind of overlooking it for a long time. It has gone up a little bit since the Jason banning because people are thinking about control, but it really hasn't shot up all that much. And if you can find these things for $15, $16, $17, even $18, and you don't have them for some reason, I'd make sure you have a play set. Consecrated Sphinx, $12.95, another card that's more of a casual card, but just another really good one. Sometimes you'll see one of these show up in like Vintage here and there, but for the most part, it's just a really powerful card for, say, Commander or just any casual gameplay. I, again, like this in cubes because this doesn't even have to be part of a theme. This can just be a solid 6 drop in blue for your cube, and it's just always going to be really good and be a really high pick. Cryptic Command, $26.45. Now, I will warn you, this card has gone up a little bit since the unbanning of Jace. So shop around a little bit. Don't overpay for this. But I still think $25, $26, maybe even a little more, is still a good price for this card. And it's got unique art in this set. I actually really like the art a lot. Nothing against the old art. I enjoy that too. But I do think this is striking. If I were to choose between the two types of art, I think I would prefer this one. And this is a interesting version of the card because it had new art. And when it came out, it was totally overlooked. Like, everyone was looking at the shiny stuff that was only reprinted in Iconic Masters and desperately needed a reprint, like Archangel Thune, we just saw a few moments ago. No one was paying attention to Cryptic Command until they realized they could start picking these things up for like $15. Like, when the set came out, these things were super affordable. No one was paying any attention at all. And then people quickly realized, wow, I can get Cryptics for like $15, and they started buying them up. So yeah, the price has gone up since then. But if you didn't pick them up then, I don't think it's getting much better because it will be a while before this gets reprinted again. I do think this will just keep creeping up. Flusterstorm, not a modern card here, so the price point's a little bit lower than Cryptic, but this is a great vintage and legacy card at $19.48. Another card that really desperately needed a reprint, one of those shiny cards that people were all gravitating to initially. But since then, the price has come down quite a bit. If you need a copy just for your collection or to play casually or to play even in constructed legacy vintage, this is a great price for the card. And if you pass this up, again, we don't know when we're going to see it again. The original version of this card at one point was a $100 card. I mean, mostly due to scarcity than anything, but it came from the Commander set, the original Commander product, one of the decks. So it wasn't something that was super easy to find for the last few years. So it was very, very welcome when it was reprinted here. And hey, finding these under $20, why not? Mana Drain. Okay, this one's a little more expensive. $63.01 at this time. The thing with Mana Drain is I was hoping this would go a little bit lower, and it didn't really. I thought maybe it'd get to like 55. It really kind of bottomed out in the low 60s. And the reason is the card's just super iconic. It's got new art as well. I do want to point that out. And the art is very striking. But this card is just all about the rarity here. I mean, this was from Legends as an uncommon at the time, actually. But then it got a Judge promo reprint and this printing. That's basically it. Those are your choices. So if you want an affordable copy of the card, this is it. This is really the only show in town if you don't want to spend at least $100 or more, right? You're probably closer to $150. Now, vintage players, they probably already have their original copies, so maybe unless they want to add this to their collection, they probably don't need it. That's one of the reasons I thought maybe it would go a little bit lower. But you never want to underestimate the casual crowd. They're picking these up for Commander decks. They're picking them up for all sorts of different like cubes and such. And because of that, the price is pretty stable in the low 60s now and has been for a while. I would compare this card to Mana Crypt and Eternal Masters. It had a very similar sort of history where it really, really needed a reprint. It was a classic card, awesome in cubes. Players that have been waiting to get a reprint of the card finally got one, and initially the card, as more and more packs got open, went down to around this price point, around the $60 price point, and then it started creeping up, and it's been creeping up, especially recently, quite a bit. I think Mana Drain kind of follows the same course. All right, let's move on to black with Bloodghast, $13.95, another card that is very overlooked right now. And a couple things are going for this card for the future. First off, vampires and Commander are very popular. You just had the Ixalan block, had a lot of new vampires, and we had the pre-constructed vampire deck, which was quite good, come out a few months ago. A lot of players bought that. They've been upgrading the deck with things from Ixalan. They're always looking for interesting upgrades. This is a great one. Beyond that, this card does see constructed play, like Modern Dredge, for example, and most recently, maybe most importantly, price-wise here, Hollow One. This card shows up in Hollow One decks. And we know that deck is incredibly hot right now, kind of snuck into the top 8 of the Pro Tour just a week ago at this point. So yeah, Bloodghast is a really nice pickup, I think, for $10 to $14. Sheoldred Whispering One. Another card that's mostly casual, does cross over a little bit into reanimation for Legacy and Vintage sometimes. $10.07 here. Now, this is probably the cheapest card we're going to talk about today, but I do think it's a good pickup. Again, like all the cards we're seeing today, we just don't know when we're going to see them printed again, especially these Praetors. They don't show up all the time. I mean, other than maybe Elish Noren's shown up a couple times, but feels like it will be a while before we see these again. Thoughtsy, $16.49. All right, this is kind of a steal, I think, in my eyes, because this card has been a Modern staple for a while, and I think this card only gets better now with Jace being in the format. It's a good way to stop Jace maybe before he hits the battlefield, and also beyond that, it actually works well in conjunction perhaps with Jace, depending on what kind of decks come out of the new meta, right? So if you can find these things for like $15, $16, I would say make sure you get a play set of them. Also, it's got the original art from Lorwyn. I actually liked the Theros art, and I think a lot of players did, but many still gravitated towards that original art, and the scarcity around the Lorwyn set, finding those in good condition was getting harder and harder because Lorwyn did have a lower print run compared to other Modern Magic sets. So this was a very welcome reprint with this art for players that were waiting for it. And it's a little bit darker. Some players like that, and also if you were playing maybe a fairy deck, it went along with the theme. Move on to some green with Vorinclex Voice of Hunger. $10.92, another Praetor here. Another card that maybe sees a tad bit of fringe play, sometimes a Modern, like a Tooth and Nail deck out of the board. But this card's really about casual play and unlocking all that mana out of your lands while choking off your opponent's resources. That's kind of the idea here. Very, very good card in a lot of casual formats. Ether Vial, $30.51. On face value, feels a little expensive considering this isn't even a Mythic, so there's more copies out there. But I'll tell you right now, this card has been super hot. It's in Merfolk decks, maybe most importantly, recently the Humans deck. And I think, again, those type of decks get better in the world of Jace. An aggro strategy that's going to put creatures down fast, like Humans, even Merfolk, they are potentially going to be able to outrun Jace. So I think this card actually gets better. And again, we just got a reprint. Who knows when it will happen again? Grove of the Burn Willows. We move into lands. $11.50. What's cool about this card is you can still pick it up around the $10 mark, and it's seeing more Modern play. Like when this set came out, I remember saying a lot of times, so this is a cool legacy card. We play this in like 4-color loam and lands. Since then, you're seeing it more and more in Modern decks, and it's showing up in a number of different ones, actually. Most notably, Living End decks, Amulet Titan. So this card's seeing a little more play recently as well, and having a little more success in the format. All right, you knew it had to be here. Horizon Canopy, $33.25. Key part of mana bases in Modern as well as Legacy. It is a part of that Humans deck we've been talking about, which has been great, and I think will continue to be great in the post-Jace Modern world as a aggro deck that might be able to take out Jace quickly if he does hit the battlefield. So Horizon Canopies, I think, actually get better now. So that's something to keep in mind. And, you know, if you want that original Future Sight version, it does have unique art. It does have the unique card frame. They're getting harder and harder to find in good condition, though, because, again, Future Sight, much like Lorwyn, had a little bit lower of a print run compared to other Modern era sets. And I don't see that card necessarily dropping below the $55, $60 mark anytime soon. But this version is much cheaper. Not cheap, but at least it's much cheaper than the original. And again, who knows when we're going to see this thing again. All right, with that being said, that's our market watch for today. I hope this at least gives you an idea of some cards to look for. I do think there's a lot of value to be had in Iconic Masters that a lot of folks have overlooked and forgotten about. And I do think there's more cards than just these 15 even that could be good pickups for you, like Glimpse the Unthinkable, Rift Bolt, stuff like that is out there. So if you're looking for those cards, maybe you've been putting it off for a little bit, I think this video is really meant to be a reminder to say, hey, you might want to pick these up before the value goes up, because they will go up. Until next time, though, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible by the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.